dude and dudettes, my name's Tristan and welcome back to the Mysterious Minds YouTube channel. On this channel we discuss the wicked, the weird, and the evil. We talk about true crime every Sunday, so don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications if you're into that kind of stuff. I bet that you won't regret it. Terry Missy Bevers was a 46-year-old fitness instructor and a married mother of 3 living in Red Oak, Texas, just south of Dallas. Her and her husband Brandon Bevers, they had been married for 20 mostly happy year. They recently had a rift between them, but we'll get into more of that later. They met because a co-worker of Missy's thought that she would be a good fit for her son, so she introduced them. 9 months after their first date, where he showed up in a full tuxedo because he had a wedding to go to after, the two of them got married. 2 years later, they introduced their first child, which was a girl, into the world. Over the next 4 years, the couple went on to have 2 more kids, all of them being girls. And Missy, by all accounts, was an outstanding mom. She really loved and doted on her kids, and she was really just somebody that you could count on to be there for you whenever you needed her. Missy was also a devoted Christian, and she really loved the outdoors, and she was really into fitness. Actually worked for what's called Camp Gladiator, which is like a fitness boot camp kind of thing that's marketed towards churches. Being into fitness and really loving to help people, Missy thought what better way to get the best of both worlds but to hold these boot camps herself. And so she did. She held them pretty often, and she was also pretty successful at it too. Missy posted almost every day, updating everybody about her classes and hoping to get new gladiators for her class. Now, Missy was known as somebody who would work out no matter what the weather was, and she definitely expected you to share the same mentality if you were expecting to work out with her. So that's why it was no surprise when on the very rainy morning of April 18th, 2016, Missy posted on Facebook at around 4 a.m. saying, "If it's raining, we're still training." Shortly after making the post, Missy arrived at the church where she was set to instruct an early morning workout, not knowing that despite the parking lot being completely empty besides her car, somebody was inside waiting for her. When students arrived just an hour later, they found Missy lying in a pool of her own blood. She had been beaten and stabbed multiple times in her chest and her head, but was somehow still miraculously clinging to life. However, when they got there, Missy Terry Bevers was dead. Due to the location and the seemingly randomness of the attack, police initially thought that she had been killed as a result of walking in on a robbery. But when investigators watched the inside security tapes from the church, chills were sent down their spine. At 3:50 a.m., only about 30 minutes before Missy arrived, an unknown person covered head to toe in what appeared to be police SWAT gear emerges from the shadows carrying what looks to be a hammer. This person walks the hallways, opens a few doors, appearing to be looking for something or someone. They broke a couple of windows and took time to adjust their utility belt, patiently wandering the halls, seemingly knowing and waiting for what was about to happen. Missy Bevers showed up at 4:16 a.m. and entered what she thought was an empty church. She would be dead less than an hour later, but first not without putting up a fight. Police said that it did look like she fought and struggled with her attack. So being covered head to toe in SWAT gear, police obviously weren't able to tell what gender the killer was, but they were able to tell that the killer was between 5'2" and 5'8", plus or minus an inch or so. They were also able to tell that this killer walked with a very specific limp or a gait, possibly caused by an injury to their right foot. They also got footage from the store, which is right down the street from the church, of the silver 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima pulling into the parking lot at around 2 a.m. They parked, turned the lights on and off twice, and then turned their car off and sat there for about 5 minutes. Suspicious, right? Well, they were only there for about 5 minutes before driving off. Despite a massive search, the owner of this car has never been identified. Now, remember in the beginning when I said that Missy and Brandon had been having some marriage problems? Well, as it turns out, Missy had been having sort of an affair. 3 months before her murder, she was messaged by this guy on LinkedIn. The messages were described as flirtatious and familiar. Brandon found out about this, and he was understandably not happy about it at all. On top of that, the couple had been having some financial problems, so with all of that combined, the police looked at him as the very likely suspect. Despite relentless pressure from the public and the police, Brandon maintained his innocence. He was officially dropped as a suspect after it was confirmed that he was in Biloxi, Mississippi at the time of the murder for a work hunting trip. They also took a look at Brandon's dad, Randy Bevers. People have even pointed out that he walks with a similar gait as the killer. So that footage is kind of damning and sort of convincing, right? Well, Randy Bevers, he also has an ironclad alibi. Him and his wife, they were in California RVing at the time that Missy was murdered, and this was confirmed through their Facebook update. However, just days after the murder, Randy was spotted taking a blood-soaked t-shirt to the dry clean. Wanting to get ahead of whatever rumors this might cause, Randy and his son took to the news to clear everything up.
They had everything. They have my flight tickets, the rental car that we rented in Gulfport, Mississippi. Matter of fact, when I pulled into my driveway Monday at 3 p.m., I was in a car with Mississippi plates on it. And I mean, all of that's a non-issue.
Randy, minor thing, the dry cleaner had your shirt listed as a woman's double XL shirt. Just a mistake. That's your shirt. The dry cleaner listed your shirt with the bloodstains on it as a women's.
Well, my wife's white shirt had bloodstains on it too. So both of us had bloodstains on her shirt and mine. So because it,
So there are 2 shirts of blood on it.
Yeah.
The warrant only listed one.
The warrant only listed one. Where's the other shirt?
The dry cleaners.
So the dry cleaner calls and says there's blood on.
I don't know what the dry. I don't know the conversation between the cleaners and the police station. Okay, I don't know that conversation.
But you're saying there's blood on 2 shirts.
There's 2 shirts that's got blood on. Okay.
And then, Randy, even though it's brought you this attention, would you say that you're glad that they're looking so closely?
You better
at all
believe
of
it.
this?
You better believe it. You better believe it. If they weren't, they wouldn't be doing their job. Okay, so by them doing this, it tells me that they're being diligent and doing their job on any tiny little whatever comes across is being looked at, and it should be. So that's great.
Police ended up getting their hands on this t-shirt, and after blood analysis was done, they were able to confirm that the blood did belong to a little chihuahua. So who else could it be then? What about that guy from LinkedIn? His identity is unknown to us, but police, they know who he is, and they do not consider him as a suspect at this time. That just 3 days before the murder, Missy had shown her friend some messages from this other unknown man. The friend couldn't remember the name of this account, but she described these messages as creepy and strange. So far, police have no idea who this creepy and strange man is. So I had a hard time finding information about this, but police also received a report of a dark SUV parked in the church parking lot shortly before any of Missy's group showed up. For some reason, if you Google Missy Bevers, this is actually not going to be easy to find. I mean, I only found out about it because of the snippet from the affidavit that's on Gumshoe Stories website, linked down below. Maybe it's because investigators didn't want their real suspect to know that they were on to it. This is Brandon Wayne Henry. Brandon Wayne Henry attended church at Creekside Church of Christ. He had also done security at Missy's funeral. On top of that, he had a 2014 Honda CR-V. But more than that, Brandon Wayne Henry had a very violent and dark past. See, at one point, he was a cop with the Lancaster Police Department, and in 1996, he allegedly raped a woman after forcing his way into her home and forcing her into some lingerie that he had brought with him. He apparently took a lie detector test for this, but I was unable to find if he passed or if he failed. I'm guessing that he passed because in 2003 he was still a police officer with the same police department when he was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon. He had held a woman at gunpoint and started to pull down her pants when he changed his mind. And he was arrested once again in 2017 for possession of child pornography. Police felt like he was such a good suspect that they even held him for a few days for questioning. During this time, they conducted a search warrant of his property and they found a lot of suspicious and familiar items. These items included a pair of black boots, a pair of black gloves, a pair of handcuffs, and a black tactical belt. Someone was also able to find footage of Brandon Henry walking around at Missy's funeral. Pay attention to the way that he walks, and tell me down below in the comments if you think that he walks with a similar gait as the killer. Personally, I feel like even if the police aren't saying it, he's the main suspect at this point. To me, it really seems like the police know a lot more than they're letting the public know. But it's been 4 years since the murder and nobody's been charged with anything relating to her death. So everybody remember that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. To honor her love for fitness and children, a 5K run benefiting the Boys and Girls Club has been set up in her memory. Thank you everyone for tuning into this episode of Mysterious Minds. If you made it this far into the video, you should definitely subscribe and turn on notifications so that you don't miss my next video. It's free and you can always change your mind about it later, but I bet that you won't. Thank you again everyone. My name's Tristan. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe.